All right, good evening, everyone. Let's start with the use of English today. And basically, for today's class, we'll be considering the functions of noun phrases. All right. So, in our last class, this is the aspect to which I stopped. I was able to list all the functions of the noun phrases. Now, let's consider that. The first aspect we have is a noun phrase functioning as a subject of a verb. Then we have a noun phrase functioning as an object of a verb. And then we'd also have the third part, that the noun phrase is functioning as a subject complement. Don't forget, as a subject complement. Now, remember that another word for subject complement is also known as, you can use complement of the subject. Okay, complement of the subject. Complement of the subject. That's another name for it. Then the fourth aspect is the noun phrase can as well function as an object complement. Don't forget, as an object complement. What I'm writing down are the different functions that a noun phrase, okay, performs. As an object complement, or you can say as complement of the object. It's also possible for you to say as complement of the object. Don't forget. Now, the fifth function here is we can have, it is possible for a noun phrase to function as a complement, of the preposition. Can you see? As the complement of the preposition. And then the last part, which is number 6, connected. All right, so let's look at the sixth function. So the sixth function of a noun phrase is a noun phrase can function as an appositive. Can you see? An appositive, or you can say as an apposition. I'll tell you what that means, as an apposition to the noun. All right, so now I need you to pay attention, class. Listen attentively. All right, even the TikTok viewers, I need you to pay attention as well. Now, today, we're going to be considering, this is actually where I stopped in the last class, and I want to continue from this part. Okay, so we stopped at the functions of noun phrases, and these are the 6 basic functions that a noun phrase will perform. Okay, so the first aspect is known as a noun phrase functioning as a subject of a verb. That's the first aspect. I'm going to be explaining each of these in details. Now we have the second aspect as a noun phrase functioning as an object of a verb. Then the third part is a noun phrase functioning as a subject complement. In case you don't want to refer to it as a subject complement, you can as well call it as a complement of the subject. Okay, it means the same thing too. Now remember, the fourth aspect is that a noun phrase will be functioning as an object complement. Remember, if you don't want to call it an object complement, you can as well call it complement of the object. Okay, complement of the object. Now, the fifth part is a noun phrase functioning as what? As a complement of the preposition. As a complement of the preposition. And then the last part, which is the sixth, is a noun phrase functioning as an appositive, okay, or as an apposition to the noun. Meaning it is very possible for a noun phrase to function as an appositive or as an apposition to the noun. Now let's take each of them in turns. Let's start with as a subject of a verb. A noun phrase can function as a subject of a verb, okay, if the noun phrase occupies the subject position in the sentence structure. That is, the subject of that particular sentence must be a noun phrase. And then the noun phrase must come before the verb. Take note of that. The noun phrase must occur before the verb in the sentence. Okay, let's take this into writing. So you have as a subject of a verb. Now, what does that mean? Let's take a look. So, the noun phrase will be the subject of the sentence. Don't forget, be the subject of the sentence. Okay. Occurring, can you see? Occurring before the verb. Before the verb. The noun phrase will be the subject of the sentence, remember, okay? Occurring before the verb. So it means that in terms of positioning, the noun phrase will basically be the subject of that particular sentence. And also, the noun phrase would occur before the verb. So usually, the structure of this sentence will most likely be the subject, the verb, okay, the complement, or the adjuncts. So you most likely have a full structure, SVOCA, usually in this case. So the structure of the sentence will mostly be SVOCA. That's the structure. And remember, in a case where you have SVOCA, as the noun phrase is functioning as a subject of a verb, it means that the subject here has to be the noun phrase. The main subject has to be the noun phrase. That's the major thing to consider. The subject has to be the noun phrase. So that's why you have the noun phrase will be the subject of the sentence, occurring before the verb. Now let's take an example. So we have examples. Now you can see the pretty young girl, okay, the pretty young girl is here. I've given an example and we're going to do the analysis together. So you have the pretty young girl is here. That's a sentence. And being a sentence, we're trying to identify the noun phrase here, all right? And then we'll now look at the function of that particular noun phrase. And remember, our concentration is that the noun phrase has to function as the subject of a verb. Is that taken? Now, please pay attention to this analysis. Now here, as you've been taught earlier by myself, this is a definite article. That's why I'm writing DA. Can you see that now? Plus pretty is what? That's an adjective. Don't forget. Plus what? Young is what? An adjective as well. Okay. Then girl is what? That is the noun head. That is the noun head itself. That is the most important word in the structure of that sentence. Now, if I combine the whole of this together, I will form a noun phrase. Don't forget. Now, is actually the what? The verb. And here is what? That's the adverb. Specifically, adverb of place. Don't forget. I've been able to analyze the structure of this sentence. Now, remember that we're saying the pretty young girl. That is what constitutes the noun phrase. And I taught you that if you want to form a noun phrase, it has to be a combination of article plus adjective. Do you understand? Sometimes adjective plus noun. Most times too, you can have possessive plus noun. You can have demonstrative plus noun. Those are the formation or combination of noun phrases. So in the case of this, you have definite article plus an adjective plus another adjective, and then you have a noun head. So here, the definite article is THE. Pretty is the adjective. Young is also another adjective. That's specifically adjective of age. While pretty is the general adjective. Now, girl is the noun head, don't forget, which is the most important word. And here, if I combine the whole of this, I'll form a noun phrase specifically. I'll form a noun phrase. And remember that this noun phrase is the subject of this sentence. And then this is the verb. And then this is what? The adverb. So what is the structure of this sentence? The structure of this sentence is SVA. It is SVA, subject, verb, and adverb. Can you see that now? So that's the structure of this sentence. So if I may ask you, for example, you can see that the pretty young girl is the noun phrase in the first place. And what is the function of this expression, the pretty young girl? That's a noun phrase functioning as what? As the subject. How is it functioning as a subject? It is occupying the subject position. Yes, it's occupying the subject position of this sentence. Can you see? This is the subject here, this is the verb, and this is the adverb. Here, adverb of place. Now, let me know if you have any question quickly. Let me know. Quickly look at this. I'm going to give you another example to explain before you take a classwork. I'm going to give you another example, but take a look at this. Please, you can talk to me, speak if you have any question at all. You can unmute yourself to speak. In the same way too, if it is clear to you, let me know. All right, let's continue. This is the first example, so I can term this A, and I can consider this to be B. So you have the old man standing at the gate is a lawyer. Can you see? So this is a longer expression. This is a longer sentence where you have the old man standing at the gate is a lawyer. Okay, so what can we observe here? Our attention is to identify basically the noun phrase and also seeing how the noun phrase would function as the subject of a verb. Now let's consider this sentence. For instance, let's do the analysis. This is a definite article. The DA is a definite article, don't forget. And then old is what? An adjective, ADJ. Can you see? Now man is what? That's the noun head. That is the most important word there. Man. That's what it's referring to. Who is a lawyer? The same man. Who is standing at the gate? The same man. So every word revolves around the man. That's why we call it the noun head. That is the most important word. The head word. If I combine the whole of this, as you can see, if I combine this, I'll form what? I'll form a noun phrase. I'll form a noun phrase, okay? And then the noun phrase is functioning as what? It's functioning as a subject, don't forget. The noun phrase is functioning as a subject. This is quite short. I hope you can see this. Okay, since I'm done with this already and you've written it, let me clean it off. I need a wider space so that I can explain better. Okay, so this is good. The old man, the old man standing at the gate. The old man standing at the gate is a lawyer. Can you see? So this is the particular sentence written at a stretch, okay? I have to maximize the space so that you can see very, very well. Now let's do the analysis together. Remember, our attention is to identify the noun phrase. That's the most important thing. And seeing how the noun phrase can function as the subject of a verb, okay? That's the most important thing. Now look to the board and let's see together. So this is a definite article. That's DA. I hope you can see very well now. And then old is an adjective, remember? And plus what? Man, which is the noun head. That's the most important word. If I combine the whole of this together, I will form a noun phrase, remember? And this noun phrase is the subject of this sentence, okay? Is the subject of the sentence and also the subject of the verb, standing. Don't forget. This standing is a verb, okay? And then you have at the gate. At the gate is what? At the gate is an adverb, remember? Because it's talking about adverb of place. Adverb of place. It's talking about adverb of place. And then you can see is also a verb, and a lawyer here is functioning as the complement. Complement. What is it complementing? It's complementing the subject. It's complementing the subject. What's the subject here? The subject here is what? The man. Or the old man, as the case may be. The old man is complementing the subject here. Complement is basically a group of words that helps to complete, that is to make something complete. It has to complete either the subject or the verb. Now, in the case of this sentence now, a lawyer, which is the complement, is also a noun phrase as well, but then it's functioning specifically as a complement. I'm coming to that later as one of the functions here. I'm coming to that later. So a lawyer, which is a complement, all right, what is it complementing? Now, a complement can either complement a subject or an object. Do you understand? It can as well complement, a complement can help to complement the sentence as a whole. But in this case, this particular complement, a lawyer, is complementing this subject. Now, take a look at this now. The old man standing at the gate is a lawyer. Now, who is the old man? The same person as the lawyer. Who is standing at the gate? The old man, and which is also the lawyer too, as you can see. So here, I've been able to analyze everything in this particular sentence, everything. Now, our major attention is to see how this noun phrase can function as a subject. That's our major attention here. Why? Because we're dealing with noun phrase functioning as a subject of a verb. That's our major attention. So here you have the old man. Standing is a verb that ends in ing form. Can you see? The old man standing at the gate is a lawyer. So now I've been able to explain using two different sentences and doing the analysis perfectly for you. Okay. Now I'll need you to attempt an exercise. I'm going to write the sentence somewhere around there. So I'll need you to attempt the exercise. Let's see. Let me still leave this in case you still want to look at it in reference to the classwork. Still very possible. You can. And I want to point your attention to something very important. Now, it is possible for a single noun, like man, to function as a noun phrase. It is very much possible for a single pronoun to function as a noun phrase. It is very, very much possible. Do you understand? A noun phrase must not compulsorily be a group of words. A single noun can function as a noun phrase. A single pronoun can equally function as a noun phrase as well too. I hope you understand that. So here we have B. I needed to attempt this. Let's see. She was invited for an interview. Don't forget. She was invited for an interview. All right, what do I need you to do? Try as much as possible to identify the noun phrase, okay? And ensure that the noun phrase is functioning as a subject of a verb. Let's see, in the next 5 minutes, you should be able to conclude this. Your time starts now. Even the TikTok viewers, please, I'd like you to attempt this. Very much possible. Yes, she was invited for an interview. I had to twist that based on the explanation I just gave you now, that a single noun or a single pronoun can function as a noun phrase. Let's see how you're going to identify that from that particular example. So your time starts now. Good luck to you. You can send in your answer in the chat box. I'll be reading. Or if you want to still explain, you can unmute yourself to do so. Just 5 minutes. Let's go. All right, so let's begin to round off. Let's begin to round off. I haven't seen any answer yet. Please, I hope you can hear me very, very well. You can unmute yourself to speak. You can unmute yourself to speak. Nobody's talking. I haven't received any answer yet. She was invited for an interview. And remember I mentioned that a single pronoun can function as a noun phrase. A single noun can equally function as a noun phrase. So that's the question. She was invited for an interview. Okay, so let's do that together. Because I noticed that the time is spacing faster. So here you have, she was invited for an interview. Okay, that's a full stop. Now remember, she ordinarily is a pronoun. Don't forget, that's a pronoun. However, this pronoun is functioning as a noun phrase. How is it functioning as a noun phrase? I can decide to expand it. I can say the young lady was invited for an interview. It's still the same thing. All right? But I just choose to use a single word, which is just a pronoun she, to represent the noun phrase. I can as well expand it to mean the pretty young girl, or the young girl, or the girl, or even the lady, for instance. I can expand it. But I choose to make it shorter as a single word to see if you can easily identify it to be a noun phrase. That's why I told you that it is possible for a single pronoun like this, she, to function as a noun phrase. And here is the analysis. First off, she is a pronoun we all know, okay? And then this pronoun is functioning as a noun phrase. How? For the fact that I have broadened it, that is, I have widened it, I told you that I can expand this to be the lady, the girl, the pretty young girl. I can expand it as much as I can. Now, was invited is a verb phrase. I taught you a verb phrase, if you remember. That has to do with the combination of two verbs together. When you combine two verbs, you will definitely form a verb phrase. And most especially, the two verbs can be as a result of auxiliary verbs and lexical verbs. So if you combine main verbs and auxiliary verbs together, you will form a verb phrase, and which is what we've seen here. Then here, for is a preposition. Don't forget prep. And then you have definite article. You can analyze it one after another, or you can pick it up together. So here you have, indefinite article plus interview, which is a noun. Okay. So in this case too, you can also form a noun phrase here. But remember, our major attention, this is functioning as a complement. Don't forget, this is a noun phrase functioning as a complement. But that's not our attention. Our attention is here. How a noun phrase can function as a subject of a verb. That's our major attention. I've been able to analyze everything in this sentence. As you can see, she ordinarily is a pronoun, and then it's functioning as a noun phrase. Okay? And then was invited is a verb phrase. For is a preposition. An interview was analysis. And is an indefinite article. Plus what? Interview is a noun. If I join this together, I'll form a noun phrase. This noun phrase in this case is functioning as a complement. Complement of this preposition for. Okay? Now, that's not our attention. We're trying to see how a noun phrase can function as a subject of a verb. So this is, she is a pronoun ordinarily, and then she is also functioning as a noun phrase, specifically as a subject. Don't forget, as a subject, because this is the subject of the sentence. And it's also the head word, the most important word. If I remove this head word, every part of the sentence is meaningless, because what you only have is what? Was invited for an interview. And then the question will be, who was invited for an interview? So this is the most important word here. Okay? So this is the analysis. Let me know if that corresponds with what you have quickly. Okay? If it's quite understood to you. Let me know. You can unmute yourself to speak. This is supposed to be a participatory class. Talk to me.